with me.
No, watch the game, man. Yeah, you think it's fine? It's fine. I'll take it.
Oh, I spit it!
Who's there?
Broken pencil.
Broken pencil.
Who cares? It's pointless.
You gotta be kidding me. You came back.
Hey.
You came back. You moved away?
The office called.
I moved towards you? And you move away?
I see you still like my candles.
I've waited so long for you to come back. Now here you are. You're as beautiful as ever. You're still wearing your ring. You're still my wife.
Yeah, you would want that.
Yeah.
So why do you think people get into this shebang where they're like, you know, he always treats me like shit, but he loves me?
I think that you're talking from a woman's point of view, clearly.
Or another man.
There are males who are, it's less known about because they feel embarrassed to like come forward because they feel like somebody's going to call him gay or call him something like just because they were beaten up. And I know that there are cases where guys are beaten up by women. But one of the hugest cases is women. Women are the ones that are usually abused more. And I feel it comes with like upbringing, how you were raised. If you saw your mother struck, if you saw your father who was abusive, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it has to do with the fact of like sex, because if you're having sex with a man, automatically a woman is emotionally tied. It does happen because you're letting someone into your vessel, so therefore it makes.
But that's a good thing. Let's don't stop that.
We're not going to stop that.
Let's don't just turn that, and we want to keep that part going.
But if you're with an abusive guy,
yes,
he might. And a lot of abusive men are very charming in the beginning, very wonderful. They want to suck you in. Some people say, "Hey, he changed when I got married." So the whole courtship part was great. And if he's an abuser, he probably knows this woman's weaker, and she's already sucked in by the time he starts abusing her. And I think it's just, sometimes they have children, sometimes they have different things, and all that is a big ball of crap, and it sucks. But I think that it's just important that you talk to people, and that you have someone that you can like lean on and say, "Hey, this is going on. What should I do?" And you actually like communicate it and can talk about it.
Now let's talk about the actual movie Permanent. So the Permanent storyline revolves around an abusive relationship.
Semi.
Okay.
It's about a girl named Danielle who basically got out of an abusive relationship, and it wasn't all abusive. There was tons of great moments. That's the reason why I said what I said earlier about how like they suck. It's all great in the beginning, and you keep trying to go back to that.
Right.
So she's in a new relationship, but she still wears her wedding ring, and she still has thoughts of her ex because she still loves him. And it's that pull back to that. And when she finally sees her ex again, it wasn't the best decision for her to go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just showing that, like, even if you get out of an abusive relationship, you can still be sucked back by yourself.
Right.
He didn't come to the door and make her come back. She came back, and the situation progressed from there.
Why do you think people do that? Why do you think people, knowing better, jump back into a situation that they clearly could stay away from?
I think it's that natural human. I'm reading this book called Sex at Dawn. It's kind of about, like, natural human sexual desires and the way that we aren't really supposed to be monogamous. We're supposed to live in, like, groups together, and we're supposed to do this and that. So I feel that the reason people go back is, even if they're in a good relationship, I feel us as people, we kind of want more all the time. It's always like that, hey, what's out there? What could have been thing that's always in our head, even though we're like, fine, our relationship is settled and our relationship is good, but they still think of the things in the past that might have felt better.
The grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, even though you fought constantly and you got out of that relationship, you're still thinking of all the positive things first.
No, this is for girls and guys? Like, I know guys think like that. Like, what you told me right now, you ain't told me nothing. You ain't said nothing slick to a can of oil. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys, we get that. Like, come on, right. But girls do that too? Like, you girls have locker room talk and you talking about getting with some other guy? No.
I think with girls, it's not talking to each other about that. I think it's in your own head by yourself. And I think it's with guys too. I think people think this way. Like, in the movie, she doesn't express it to her boyfriend or a friend. She kind of handles it by herself because it's her own inner demons. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a person who broke up with my ex and I was having, like, an amazing time with my ex, but that ended harshly, and then I got with someone else who's amazing and wonderful, I still might think, hey, why did that go that way? Or
you think maybe you deserve that first person. That's what I've seen a lot in the people that have been on the show that talked about abuse and in personal relationships. You feel like, for whatever reason, you're supposed to have a certain balance in your life. Everybody does. They feel like, I may have a good job, but unless I go home from work and argue with my wife, I'm not really having the relationship my parents had. So I can't be with someone who gets along with me.
Right.
Because there's something missing. There's I watched this movie Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. It was so funny.
I love that movie.
And I love the scene where Amy says, I'm having trouble with this guy, and her girlfriend's like, what's the problem? The sex is good. I mean, it's great. It's like really great. But it's not the best sex I ever had.
Yeah.
And her sister, or the character that plays her sister, is like, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't need it to be the best you ever had. Like, it's great. What's wrong with great? Like,
and that's pretty much
don't look for a problem in your, you know what I'm saying, in your relationship. Just you got it going on. Leave it alone.
I think that's what people do, though. I think they look for things. And now with social media and all this, you can always see a girl that looks better than your wife. You can always see a girl and you're like, why can't I have that girl? I mean, why can't my wife look like that girl? You should never think that way.
No.
But it works. It happens because now you have access to all these things that maybe people didn't have before, but they still found a way.
Right. Well, I mean, for that matter, cheating and domestic violence have been around as long as people have been around. So we can't say social media because
no, but that is an aspect of why marriages don't work out as much now as they did before. Is the social media aspect. So
you're kind of saying because muffas have options now, the options are what the problem is. We need to take away the options, put them back.
Mr. Ace Michael! I feel good. I knew that I would now. I feel good. I knew that I would. So good. So good. I got you. I feel nice. Sugar is fine. I feel nice. Sugar is fine.
towards you, you move away.
I see some pills on the table. Haven't you been taking your medication?
You know what's funny to me? No, you're gonna laugh. You were the one that promised to love me.
I do.
For richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. And one bad day, boom, you're gone. And I'm the one that gets labeled as crazy.
Okay, it wasn't one bad day. Okay, it was months and months of you either sitting in silence or being pissed off all the time. Months of you going to bars and drinking, sleeping on the couch, or just not coming home. You didn't even show up to my graduation. You know how much that meant to me.
No. We took vows.
Yes, we took vows. But what about all the vows that you promised me?
You're the one that stopped loving me. And then you left.
Like, let's say the 70s, 80s. I mean, more marriages were lasting longer than now. And the reason for that is because there aren't that many outside influences that make you feel like your life is not more than what it should be. Now people feel I'm settling. Because look at this person on Facebook who has this wonderful Facebook life, which isn't probably how their life really is.
Of course.
But they're seeing it that way.
Sure.
And it's like that with violence. It's like that with arguments. It's like that. I know a girl that got punched in the face because she had too many guys on her Facebook page. And her boyfriend saw it.
Right.
So it's like, I feel there's too many. And the outside influences make people jealous. Make them see things that might not be there. Oh, you're cheating on me. But she's not even cheating on you. But you're cheating. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't think there's ever an explanation for domestic violence. There's not an explanation of why a girl stays or why a guy hits her or vice versa or whatever. I think it's just who you are as a person and if you're strong enough to be able to see it before or after. I mean, you could be being abused for 2 years, wake up and say, hey, I'm being abused, I'm done.
Right.
You could be on crack for 10 years and say, hey, I'm done.
Right.
People have quit cold turkey cigarettes.
Right.
So it can be done. It's just your will and want of what you want. And maybe this person has broken her down so much that she feels that's all she deserves.
Right. One of the things that I thought was interesting about Permanent is that the movie title refers to permanent vows.
Yes.
And the fact that, you know, you make a commitment when you marry someone and you may find this person to be different after you marry them, but you're already in it. You're in it permanently.
And then you want to work on it. You want to fix it.
Right.
Yeah, I've been in relationships where I want to fix it. I've been in all that, and I think that's what makes me who I am now. Where it's like I'm not dealing with that. I just can't. Like if I see a red flag, it's like,
right,
I'm done.
And how many red flags? You know what I'm saying? Like when you.
It depends on the person, I think.
Yeah.
Because if it's somebody who I'm just totally not into, it's one red flag. But if I'm into a person, it might be 3 or 4 red flags. You know, even myself. What
are the things that you hate in a relationship? That going into a new relationship, as soon as you see these things, you're gonna go, Like, that's don't tell me you love me after 72 hours.
I don't mind that.
You only barely know me, dog.
I don't mind that.
You know what I'm capable of. All my life I had to fight.
I don't mind that because love, I feel more so than a word is a feeling.
Okay.
And sometimes you can feel super in love if you're having sex. You can feel super in love if you're just like looking at someone with your kids. So I don't feel like I love you is necessarily like, oh my God, he's moving too quick, he's a weirdo. One thing a major thing for me is a trust issue. I don't really care. And I mean on your end. Like, I'm not going to question you. I'm not going to go through your phone. I'm not going to go through your Facebook. If you have a book open, I'm not going to look at it because I just don't care. Like, I care about you.
Right.
And I don't care about looking for something to hate you for.
Right.
Now, anytime you look in somebody's phone, you're going to find something. It doesn't matter.
Right.
People communicate with people. You have to get over the jealousy and the feeling that one person is your property. I don't care if we're married. You're not my property. I'm not your property. I can still have my own bank account. I can still go out with my girlfriends and not tell you everything we do.
Right.
And I just feel like that's not me being disrespectful. I don't play house.
Right.
Like, I'm not your wife. I'm your girlfriend. So when it comes down to it, we can't, like, if I have my own place, you have your own place, that's okay. I hate that people move in. Now, I am a person who's lived with a boyfriend. But I hate when people just move in and play house, like have kids, do this whole like thing together and don't commit to it, and then but still have like the rules of commitment.
Oh,
if you don't give me your last name, then you don't have any rules on me. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be married because of that. Right. If I ever got married, there's no cheating. There's no looking at other people. There's just you and me because we got married and I want to work on that. But I don't even feel like that exists. Yeah. Like, I honestly don't. So why get married?
I want to address that. So do you think monogamy is impossible? Is monogamy even really what human beings are supposed to do? Some animals don't do it.
Some animals don't do it, but monogamy is a tricky thing. Because why do you have to be monogamous to a person who's not right for you? Like, why do you automatically, when you become boyfriend and girlfriend, everything's good, you guys just want each other. But when you feel that moment, or you see someone, or one of you feels that moment where you don't want to be monogamous anymore, why lie and like continuously? Well,
I can answer that. Because there's a guilt involved. And the guilt is unfair.
Right.
The guilt says, okay, so Lindsey and Ace are dating. We're going out, we're hanging out, we're having a good time. All is good, right? And then one day I say, but damn, I want a blonde.
Yeah.
You know? And you're not going to be a blonde for me. Right. So now I have the guilt because I know that the day we have the conversation, whether it's at a beautiful dinner or in front of the bat mitzvah, you're going to throw everything out the window. You're going to say, oh, so you want a blonde. Well, then go ahead and pack your stuff, move your stuff out. And by the way, the car that I paid for is mine still.
So then that answers the question.
Right.
Saying that I care about you, me and you are dating.
Right.
I care about you. I don't want to lose you. But I want to sleep with this person. So it's like, I do feel monogamy is something that's put on us, like with religion, with different things. I feel like in the book that I'm reading, the one that I talked about earlier, it states that like we really started doing this whole monogamy thing when we got agriculture and houses. Because for a long time we were living in groups together, and it didn't matter who. And men fought, and they would get the females, they'd get all the girls. But there was a certain time where men got a home, they got a fence, and they said, this is my house, this is my fence, this is my woman. And thus starts the property, women are property. So I think that at a time, years ago, women had a lot more to say about sexuality. They could do whatever, they could be with whoever they wanted to be with. And the men were just like, "Rawr, give me the girls." Now it's more, we're structured, we're a civilization, we're smart, we read, we know what's right and wrong. So I think monogamy is good, but I feel like you gotta get those kicks out. I feel like if I get married, it's gonna be 40-50. After I've already lived.
I'm not sure what 40-50 is.
Like,
what are we talking? Some ratios of...
I kissed her and she kissed me. Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? The room was complete.
I already did a couple parties, I already hung out, made a couple mistakes, and then at 40-50, you're like, I'm ready to settle down.
40-50 age, okay.
Yeah, like ready to settle down on him.
I thought you meant 40% something and 40-50%. I'm like, what's really going on? I think the problem is, and it's going to go the same route as we went with gay marriage and transsexuals in our society, because we have to evolve with everything that's evolving.
I agree.
Now, when you were the king of your manor, right? And so you had this castle and you had this queen in your castle. damn it, don't nobody come in here and mess with my queen. This is my ish, leave it.
But I also have her ladies that I can have whatever.
Yeah.
King. Most people who have power and have a lot of money, they feel they can do anything they want.
Right.
Because they're powerful and because they have money. They're the ones that cheat more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But now we've reached this 2017 where we have to look at things and go, first off, back in the 50s, we thought it was realistic for one person to make enough money to support a wife, 2 kids, maybe a dog, a cat. That's unrealistic. We realize that. That's unrealistic. Unless you're going to start paying us $50 an hour, it's unrealistic to think that dad can be the sole breadwinner. But dads didn't want to part with that idea for a long time. And my wife is never going to work. She's never going to have a job. Well, you're not going to get on the thing.
Well, I feel like now that's true, but in the 50s it was totally plausible because it was everything was cheaper, and it was like if a thing of milk cost 5 cents and I'm paid a whole $1. You get what I'm saying? It's like the ratio worked back then. Now things are more expensive. Kids are more expensive. There's TVs and technology and all kind of things. I mean, back then you get a shake for 5 cents.
Yeah, but look at the stress that was caused. I mean, you had dads working so much that they never saw their families because they had to work.
And that was the way.
Right.
That was supposedly the way. So now we've changed that. We've evolved even from that.
And that's what I'm saying. I think some of this relationship, because let's be kind of honest, there would be no domestic violence if there was more communication.
Sure.
If you could just say, listen,
this is how I feel.
This is how I feel. This is how I get down.
I think, but it's more important than how you say something, how you react to it.
Sure.
Because if we matured and reacted different, there would be no domestic violence.
You know, it's interesting. I was watching a show last night. I like to watch a lot of shows. That's how I get down. So I was watching a show last night called Magic City. Have you ever seen that? It was a Showtime show. It's
I'm an HBO girl, but yes, I've heard of Magic City.
Well, no.
Oh, are you talking about what?
No, I watch HBO too. I like HBO. But this particular show is set in the 50s, and it's about a casino owner in Miami during the 50s. So last night, he said something to his wife that was very interesting, the way it was phrased. He said, I'm going to tell you this one time and one time only. And I thought, what an interesting way, because he wasn't talking to a mobster. He was talking to his wife in the bedroom. And the fact that he had to preface it like that, like, listen, Lindsey, I'm going to say this once and one time only, was like, damn, like for real? So he was the man of the house.
Yeah, but I feel they also had to be like that because she's in danger. If he's working with mob people and stuff, the less she knows, the better. Now, if he was just a business salesman, or insurance salesman, dude, you could tell me everything you're doing. Like, there's no reason, you don't need to talk to me like that. But if you're in some shady doings, don't tell me nothing.
Keep your shade in the shade.
Because if it was me, I would be like this, you don't need to tell me once.
Right, exactly.
Because I already know. You don't have to tell me at all, honey. I'll have dinner on the table tomorrow if you come home. Bye.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So we get into now these relationships. Of course, domestic violence is the number one no-no. We do not want domestic violence.
We don't want that.
We have to communicate more. And that's starting from the beginning. I think if guys can get comfortable saying, I look at some porn. Get over that.
I have been that girl who cared about the porn. And I've been that girl that doesn't care. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. I think it was just I don't know why I was so upset that he was watching porn. Maybe it was because, for instance, now I don't care because the only reason why you're watching porn is because I said, nah, I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Did you believe your vagina was like a prison that he was
I think it was because I would want, and then he wouldn't want to, and then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and he'd be locked in the bedroom like with porn. That was the problem. But like if I say, hey, I'm tired, whatever, and you go watch some porn, I don't care. Right. Who cares? I don't know. It was weird.
Isn't that like some things you're in the mood for, some things you're not?
I think porn's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, but The point is about hiding it. That's the point. Is that if you're in a relationship with somebody, whatever they're into, they like to play screaming metal guitar at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
If that's what they're into, and that's your person, you got to be into that too, or at least beg to differ. You gotta.
You just have to compromise and be like, hey, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna put my earplugs in.
I say you got to be into it. You got to be into it.
Is that you? Are you rocking out at 3 a.m.?
No, but I have my peccadillos that I think okay, here's what it is. The next time I'm going to get down.
Okay.
Okay? Because you can't do it this time because you've already made the mistakes this time and you're already in it.
Okay.
The next time, though, I'm going to do it a different way. The next time I'm going to say, now look at here. This is Ace's playlist.
True.
This is how I roll. If you're comfortable with this, we're going to be fine.
But Ace, you know, we all do that all the time and we always fall back into that. It's like, I'll be like, after this relationship, I'm doing it this way, and then as soon I'm like, it is exactly the same way because it's me. That's who I am. That's
because you end up in a relationship before you realize it, and that's because of lack of communication. You think about it. You meet somebody, you say, "Hey, I'll meet you for coffee." You meet them for coffee. Coffee turns into, "Let's go for a walk after coffee."
True.
Let's go back to my place after coffee. Before you realize.